few minutes ago, I was making a video and running some scans, and I wouldn't get, one time I didn't get any results returned, and another time I'll get 2 or 3. I've been sitting here coding this psar scanner, and same thing. I get 1, maybe 2 results. Here, I don't know, about 20 minutes ago or something like that, I ran a scan and poof, I mean, it come back with a ton of them. I don't know what happened. Something must have shook something up. But because you could see, it's all the same. It's all the same run. So I'm gonna run it again and get some more current things if I can. Okay, yeah, let's run this. Okay, so now we got Euro USD. Hey, look at that, finally broke. AUD CAD, 30-minute. No, it's 60-minute. Broke above, below. Okay, here we go. What you want when this thing works perfect, which psar is a pain, I've already said that. You want, in this case, you want the psar to be below the high on this bar. And then on the next bar, you want the psar to be above. So what you can say then, if you think about it, the psar broke below, I'm sorry, the price broke below the psar. AUD CAD 60, price broke below the psar. Now, sometimes, because of the way the psar works, you might have 2 dots up here, so it might appear like you're one bar off, and really you are 1 bar off, but it's because of the way psar is calculated, and some other things too. The rates might not be correct, might not be up to date in your platform or something. There might be other reasons, but anyway, that's the perfect world right there. Okay, let's see here. Broke below. Oh, darn, everything's breaking below. Let's look at this one here. This broke above. Now this is a long time ago. This is 20 minutes ago or something. USD Swiss. Do I have that? Nope. USD Swiss. And what we wanted the 30. Okay. What did I just say? Okay, broke above, yeah. Okay, like I said, this was from a while back. You can see the time there. The high was below the psar. Just ignore this one for a second because we're late looking at it. The high was below the psar on this bar, and then the high moved above the psar on this bar. So you can say the price broke above the psar. I'm sure you understand that. And I'm sure you also understand the fact that if we sat here for 2 or 3 hours, this would continue on, and what was a valid signal back here at 1929 now kind of would no longer be a valid signal. But that's how this particular scanner works. It looks for times when the price moves through the psar, either going down or up. Alright, let's look at the code here if we can. It's pretty much the same thing. There's no, now what I did this time, I added a 5-minute just so it'd look exciting. Here you have 2 inputs. You know how the psar works, you have 2 inputs on it. You have the step and you have the maximum. I usually use 0, 1 for the step, and that seems to give me a smoother a smoother run, in other words. So it keeps you in the trend longer. Of course, now there's a flip side to that, of course, but I usually 1 is my preferred thing. Get back to this, and that's these 2 inputs. So you can change it if you want to make it 2, if you want to make it 4, whatever you want to make it. That's the 2 inputs. Extern, double, because it's a double. You see how it's 0.0. It's a double. Time frames, if nothing's changed there other than the 5 from the first video. It's just an array. Remember in the first video, the count's nothing more than the total number of symbols. Symbols total gives you that. If you watch the first video, that explains that. TF size, just no different. Symbol, no different. All this is the same. All this is the same. Now I have another double H would be for the high and the bid, and that's for something else that I'll post later. I just forgot to take it out of this. I'll probably just leave it in there. All right. So this time, where before we had double, and then we had zup, and then we were calling nin's indicator. This time we just have our own little function we wrote, because you can write your own functions just like nin wrote. Just like nin wrote his indicator, you can write functions that do the same thing. And here, all you're doing is you're stepping through the symbols, just like before. Just look back at that other video, one at a time, and then you're stepping through the time frames on each symbol, one at a time. First on the 5-minute, and the 15-minute, and the 30-minute. So what you're doing here, you're saying, with all this code, it's selecting the first symbol, which is the EURUSD, and you're saying, this psar function is just saying, you're just saying, hey psar, look at the EURUSD, this time frame, first one would be 5, and tell me if you see a break above or below. Then you come back and you say, hey psar, look at the EURUSD. On the 15-minute, is there a break above or below? 30-minute, you just scroll through them, or the code actually scrolls through them. MetaTrader. Here's the code. Here again, don't worry about those 2 things there. That's something I'm going to do later. Remember I said before, if the high was above the psar, the high is above, no, here the high is above the psar. And then the bar prior, the high was less than the psar. It must have broke above the psar. Here, if the high for that symbol in that time frame up here is less than the psar on the 0 bar, on the current bar, now this is when it's working perfect, and then the high on the prior bar, 1, see at 0, 1, so 0 bar, this is 1 bar from the 0, was greater than the psar, then the price must have broke below the psar. So let's go back to this. You should be able to read through that, and it should actually make sense. Once you get in your mind where these parentheses are and what's enclosed in there, it should make sense. Here, oh, darn. Here, the high was below the psar, and on the very next bar, the high moved above the psar. See how the psar's down here? Well, then the price must have moved above. It broke above. The high was below the psar. The psar must have been way down here. Price moved up. It went through the psar, and then the psar moved down here, so that it moved above. That's above too. I thought I had a below somewhere. Yeah, here's a below, just by coincidence, I guess. Okay, you see here, the high is above the psar. On this bar here, the high, right there's the high, is below the psar. So that's telling you that the price must have moved below the psar, which it did. Now that code is a little bit more involved than that other code. And all this is doing is it's just saying, hey, if the high on the 0 bar is greater than the psar, the 0 bar, and the opposite is true 1 bar ago, it says alert, the symbol, the time frame, price broke above psar. And you could change that to whatever you wanted. And the flip side is right here. It's a little bit little bit more involved in that ZUP thing. But if you're going to code, and you're going to code, just say for instance you have something that you think is the hot dog system, and you want to code for signals, you're going to have to learn the code, or either you're going to have to post it on the web or something and get somebody to code it for you. And that's all you have to do, is just in this sort of framework, just create a function, send your symbol, and if you want to do it in multi-pair, multi-time frame, send your symbol and your time frame to it and say, hey psar, look at the Euro USD on the 1440 and see if the price broke above or below. And if it did neither one, it's not going to tell you anything. It's only going to do something if it broke above or below. I'll post this code on any vid site, earnforex.com, and then also Forex Factory. Let's see if there was something else I wanted to say. I can't really remember if there was or not, but all you have to do is just keep in mind that here the high is above the psar, and on this bar here the high is now below the psar. Well, if those two things happened, the conclusion is that the price must have dropped below the psar. And the same situation here. Now, of course, it might not work here. This is what, a 15-minute chart? Of course, it won't work here. But here, the high was above the psar, and the price fell down, fell below the psar. Psar moved up there. So now, you got your little trend there. And what is this, GPCAD? And you can see it does not always work. You got to use a lot of caution. And these wild pairs like that, just GPCAD is, that's wild as heck. It might not work as good there. Let me let's see here. Okay, here. Let's just take this one for example right here. Okay, it broke below there. Now you don't know when it breaks below. Right here it broke above. I'll tell you what, let's just go with this. Right here it broke above. You don't know how long it's going to go for. What you can do to kind of protect yourself a little bit is That's the bar that it broke on. And let's just say, well, let's just go to here, I guess. What you can do, step down to a lower time frame and wait for a signal in that. And I'm sure you've heard of people doing that. What have I got here? Let's see. Chart. Auto scroll. So that was the bar right there. So here it would have been a sell. Now here it would have been a buy. But if you drop down to your lower time frames and enter on them after the, be honest with you, that still wouldn't have worked out good, worth a darn. But if you drop down to the lower time frames and enter on them, so in other words, your entry is already, it's long gone back here. But just say, for instance, it would have come down and it went back up. Enter like on the 240 or the 60 or somewhere along there. Because the movement is so small, your losses tend to be small. I mean, you start looking at this here. I mean, dang, in 1 week, look how far that is. There's no telling what that is. Probably 2,000 or 3,000 pips there. 3,000 pips. Now that's not usual. That's very abnormal, to be honest with you. But still, it's a long ways up there. But if you drop down to the, the hour chart, it's not that much. So if you were, it's parabolic stop and reverse. In other words, when it hits here, you stop whatever you were doing and reverse your action. Is kind of what it's saying. So here, your stop loss would be, if you use this, would be 37 pips. I mean, that's small compared to the other thing. So if you get your daily going, good. If you get your daily going good, and you enter on the smaller time frames, you could have a smaller stop loss. Is kind of what I'm getting at. I'm sure you understand what multiple time frame. I know you understand what I was talking about. But anyway, I'll post the code, and we'll go from there.